Welcome back to another video from ToolBox Tips. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing, setup, and review for the MUCAR BT200 MAX. So I already have a couple smaller portable OBD2 scanners, and MUCAR was nice enough to reach out and offer me to test this out, which this was a great time because the engine light just came on my truck. So in this video, what we're going to do is actually give this some real world testing and see what code is actually populated in my truck, which will be awesome. With that, we'll be able to test out some of the features that this also has available. So this is a Bluetooth device. So this actually will be operated off of the MUCAR app. So the MUCAR is a bi-directional scanner, which is awesome. So this will give you the option to actually test out components in different modules. It also comes with 15 essential resets. So it allows you to do TPMS reset, SAS, BMS, and your EVP. So if you have a winter tire swap you need to do, or you have a diesel and you're doing a regen, that's a great option because this scan tool will give you that function. So the scanner also gives you the option to actually scan multiple different modules. Unlike some of these cheaper options for the OBD2, you only get 3 or 4 module options. With the MUCAR, any option that's available for the vehicle, this will pick up that module and scan it for you. So let's open up the packaging here. So it is pretty small packaging, which is awesome. For a portable scanner, that's something you kind of want, is this to be a little bit smaller. You want to be able to keep this in your glove box or your center console. So opening up in the inside, we've got some information in here. So it looks like there are a few owner manuals inside, quick setup guide, and just a little bit of additional help info and some of their social media info. It comes in a nice little nylon case here, which is great. It keeps it a little bit easier to store. So it looks very similar to other small portable bi-directional OBD2 scanners, where this will connect underneath the dashboard, and then you're going to use an app actually through the App Store to do all the scanning. So because this scanner is so compact, it makes this unboxing process extremely easy. And what we're going to do is grab our iPad and we're going to open up the App Store and download the MUCAR app. We're going to get set up before we go outside, and then we're going to go out and scan my truck and see what the engine light is on for. So now that we're in the App Store, you're going to be looking for the Dollar Fix app here. So we're going to hit that and get this downloaded here. So let's open up the app and we're going to get an account set up here so we can go outside and connect this to the truck. So now that we're inside of the vehicle, we've got the MUCAR connected to the OBD port under my dash, and we've got the accessory power on in the vehicle. We're inside of the app here. So the second tab will bring you to this screen here. So we're going to go to the enhanced diagnostics. We're going to run an auto VIN scan here on the vehicle. So a lot of these newer scan tools have the auto VIN feature, which is awesome. So you don't need to look under the dash or at the owner's manual to get that information. It looks like because this is the first time I've used this scanner, it's updating the files to the Chrysler options, which this is a Ram truck, so it's part of the Chrysler brand. So it looks like it's just setting that up. So if you're using this with a newer vehicle you've never used, say GM or a Ford, it may do the same thing where it has to download that file for you. So it's now picked up the info here for me. It's got the VIN, the make, the year, the model, all that info. So we're just going to confirm that's all correct here. And we're going to do a health report here. So this should run through and check all the available modules on the vehicle. So one thing that I like with this scanner and app compared to some of the other portable Bluetooth ones is I can actually zoom in on this screen here and enlarge it, where Some of the other apps keep these screens super small. It's a little bit harder to see, where this one actually on the iPad I'm using, I can zoom in here. So it's pulled up a handful of my modules here for me. And I've got a couple codes which I know are persistent because of the 2 mirrors that are installed in the truck. I throw codes because of those. My TPMS code's on because I have my winter tires on and I don't have monitors in that, which is nice to see. The ABS and the instrument panel will be because my air ride is deleted on this truck. And the BCM should be because of the air ride too, but we'll go into that one after. Let's go into the PCM and we'll see why my engine light's on. So we're going to go to the read fault code. And I'm throwing a small leak here on the vehicle. So most of the time when you get a code like this for a small leak, it's going to be something along the lines of the gas cap may be loose or you just fueled up. But I'm actually at about a quarter tank and I fueled about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago and I've had no issues. So this is definitely going to warrant a little bit more investigation on my part to see if I have a seal on the gas cap or possibly a leak on one of the hoses that's just starting out. Let's go back. We know that we have a code now for the EVAP and we're going to read some of the data streams. We're going to see what is actually available here for this vehicle in regards to the EVAP to see if this is something where we can see the information we need to go about doing a repair here. So we've got an option here, the purge duty cycle, purge airflow, purge current, purge mode. So that is really good for us to determine if we have a leak here. So we can put the vehicle under a purge seal test by the looks of it. So we've got the info for it, but let's go over to the actuation tests here and see if this is something that we can see. There are quite a few tests here, which is nice to see with this. So it looks like this is a full system scanner. For the actuation test, there's quite a few options in here actually. So it doesn't look like on this list I have the option to run the vehicle under a purge seal. So we may need to do that a little bit more manually with a smoke machine to figure out if I do actually have a leak in this vehicle. Let's take a look in this read configuration tab. So a lot of the scanners I've used, I've never had a tab like this. So let's see what info is in here. So this looks like it's pulling up a bunch of information off modules and it's telling you if that info is correct, whether you have certain functions available here. So that's pretty interesting. I've never seen anything like that before. We'll go into our module information. That's interesting too. It's giving us a bunch of part numbers and stuff along those lines and verifying the VIN. So that's nice to see. If you're in the point where you need to replace a module, that info may help you there. Let's jump over to my BCM because it's showing 4 codes in there. So we'll see if there's anything new that I didn't know was actually inside. So let's read the fault codes here. So actually all of these, I am aware of these issues because I changed out some of my taillight and license plate lights to LED bulbs, but they are non-fault code bulbs. So they are throwing faults because they're not at the correct resistance that the vehicle needs to see. So all of those are no issue that I'm concerned about. Let's also take a look though at the actuation test here and see what's available in the BCM. So it looks like we're able to do a bunch of testing on lights, the horn, starter, the RAM box. If you had the RAM box, you'd have lights inside of there. So quite a few options on here, which is nice. So let's take a look at some of these other modules and we'll see what the actuation tests are that are available in those modules too. So we have a few options here. So we'll go into the TPM here. So like I mentioned, I just put my winter tires on. So I know the code I'm going to be throwing is for the winter tires here. So Ram is one of the vehicles that I've seen that has this feature, which is pretty cool. So if you install tires with no TPM, it actually puts the vehicle into a winter mode. So what it does is it disengages the low tire light off of the dash for you. So that makes it where you can drive your vehicle throughout the winter and you're not going to be stuck with the warning light on that there's low tire because it's not reading the TPMs. It just completely disengages that, which is awesome. So I have two codes for the driver's door. Again, I know one will be for the mirror because I don't have the full mirror in this vehicle. So it looks like there may be an issue with the light that's associated with the mirror here too, the LED. So we're back onto our home screen here, and looking at this, it picked up all the modules that I'm familiar with this vehicle having, other than the cruise control module. That's the only one I don't actually see here that's picked up. So other than that, it looks like everything else here has been picked up. So let's go to the fault report here. So this is going to bring us in and show us all the fault codes on every module that is currently available. And then this is cool. It shows you on the bottom all the systems that are here that don't have any issues. So you can go directly just into system selection. So say you're working on the vehicle and you don't need to run a full health report. You can just jump into a system individually as long as that module is picked up by the scanner here. So we're back inside now, and we're going to take a look at the app here because this app has a ton of additional features that a lot of these smaller portable Bluetooth scanners don't have. So it looks like on the home page here, they have some form of like a social media community posting area where you can post information, post as well as probably like car content, things like that. On the second tab here, this is the diagnostic. So this is where you're going to be doing your scan. You'll also find your maintenance functions in here. So like I said, there's a pretty big list of maintenance functions here that you do get, which is really cool. So if you don't need all of them, you can just download exactly what you need here, which is nice, as well as a dashboard button here. So if you're hooked up to the vehicle, this will give you a virtual dashboard for RPM and speed if you're, road testing a vehicle or on a hoist and testing on a vehicle. So it looks like it pulled up my previous smog test, which because I have the engine light on, the vehicle did fail that, of course. So it looks like the rest of this info would populate when you have the vehicle actually plugged into the scanner. On the mall tab here, this is where you can download the updates for the vehicles that you're going to be working on. So if you only work on American vehicles, you can just download the big three. But if you're working on Asian or European vehicles, you can also download that info. And at the very end is your profile info. So there is a little tab here. I noticed the DF points. It looks like you can get some points. I don't know what the rewards are for. Here we go. So yeah, there's a bit of additional info in here. So if you collect enough points, you can exchange them for additional functions. So it looks like you'll gain points from joining communities and maybe posting and stuff. So it looks like this app is a bit of a mixture between the diagnosis portion as well as a small social media community portion. So overall, I'd say the scanner is pretty decent. I did have a couple hiccups in the very beginning trying to set up my account for the scanner, and I needed a firmware update for the scanner when I first plugged it in, and I had some difficulty trying to actually get that to activate. It kept crashing. It took me about 20 minutes or so to get the update to start, and then after that point, it finished up pretty quick. The app is very interesting. I don't know how I feel about having all this community and additional info. Really, the only tab I would ever use is the diagnostic tab. I personally wouldn't be posting a bunch of additional things on this app. I would really only be using this for scanning the vehicle. But overall, kind of my first experience with it is pretty good. I'm going to play around a bit more with the app and see if I can kind of get a bit more fluid with it here. So if you do have any questions about this, leave me a comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.